The Vista Ridge Ripper. Author's note. Thanks for listening. This is chapter 1 of my new police procedural. If you enjoy the story, I hope you'll stick around. New chapters will be posted once or twice a week, so be sure to subscribe or follow so you don't miss anything. If you like what you hear, please consider passing the word along. This is a project I put a lot into, and I'm excited to take you along for the ride. Whether you're here for the mystery, the characters, or just something to keep you company on a drive or a walk, I'm glad you found it. Every story has a beginning. This one starts with a high-dollar escort. Chapter 1. Matt Berry tossed his keys on the kitchen counter, grateful the day was finally over. He'd spent the last 14 hours in an interview room with a man who'd killed his wife and stuffed her body into a 55-gallon drum of acid. The suspect confessed to the murder around hour 6. It took another 7 to drag out the rest. The how and the where. The house was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator, one of the few appliances Jen hadn't taken in her sweep of the place 3 months ago. He'd come home from a double homicide in Waco to find the place stripped bare. She'd even taken the shower curtain. A folding table now stood where their dining set used to be, and a love seat faced the TV in the living room. The walls held faint rectangles where framed photos had once hung. Matt opened the fridge, grabbed a beer, then reconsidered and put it back. He needed a clear head for tomorrow's court appearance. Another damn hearing in his divorce. This time over a box of comics. Not expensive ones. Not collector's editions. Just a box of old issues from his childhood. Dog-eared Spider-Mans, torn Fantastic Fours. She wanted those too. Her lawyer had called them potentially valuable assets. Matt called it bullshit. He'd given her everything, the furniture, the car, even the espresso machine, thinking that if he made it easy, she'd go away faster. She hadn't. The easier he tried to make it, the more it seemed to piss her off. The house belonged to his oldest brother, Robert, a successful attorney who rented it to Matt at what he called family rates, which still seemed steep for a Texas Bureau of Investigation agent's salary. Robert claimed the rent barely covered expenses. Matt picked up his badge from the counter and turned it over in his hand. Texas Bureau of Investigation, Special Agent, Investigative Division. The job he loved was the thing Jen claimed to hate most. The late nights, the 3 a.m. calls, the cases he couldn't talk about. He used to feel guilty. Now he figured she'd have complained no matter what he did. His cell phone rang. He glanced at the phone screen. Spam. Matt let it go to voicemail. He received a dozen such calls a day now. They were becoming intolerable. Matt walked to the window, looking out at the empty street. It was Sunday night, and he was alone. Again. He couldn't remember the last time he'd had a real date. Work consumed most of his waking hours, and the divorce proceedings ate whatever was left. He considered pouring himself a whiskey, then rejected the idea. What he needed wasn't a drink. It was company, someone to talk to who wouldn't judge him, wouldn't ask about the case, wouldn't expect anything beyond a few hours of conversation. Matt glanced at his phone, scrolled through his contacts, and stopped at one name. Sarah. They'd met years ago during a stint he'd pulled with Vice. She'd been a witness, not a suspect, in a case involving a high-end escort service. Smart, funny, and completely unashamed of her profession. After the case closed, he'd run into her at a coffee shop. They'd talked for an hour, and at the end, she'd slipped him her card with a wink. In case you ever need company, she'd said, I offer a police discount. He'd never taken the discount. Something about it felt wrong. But he had called her occasionally when the loneliness became too much. Just for dinner, conversation, maybe more. No strings, no complications. No chance of another Jen. Matt picked up his phone and dialed. The line rang twice before she answered. Hey, stranger, Sarah said. Long time no trouble. Matt smiled faintly. You busy tonight? I am, unfortunately, she said, genuine regret in her voice. A regular client. You always call at the last minute. You might try giving me some notice. I try to keep you on your toes. She laughed, low and easy. You okay? Yeah, Matt said, though he wasn't sure why he said it. Just didn't feel like sitting in this damn house alone. There was a short pause. I'd come if I could, she said, but I might have someone, if you're open. Matt didn't say anything right away. She's a friend, High end. She owes me a favor and she's cool. You'll be fine. What's her name? Ivy, Sarah said. What does she look like? She is gorgeous. Better than you deserve. Matt laughed. I'm not kidding. She's hot. What's your favorite body part on a girl? I, don't be shy, Matt. Remember who you're talking to. I like them all. Bull, say it, Sarah pressed. The ass, he finally said. Ivy's will make you cry, Sarah said. You were going to say that about any body part I mentioned. Sarah laughed. What if it's true? What if she's that hot? He exhaled a long breath. Stupid or not, he knew he was about to take the plunge. What about the money? You're getting my rate, Sarah said. She knows. She wouldn't be doing this otherwise. You sure? I wouldn't offer if I wasn't. Want me to check? Yeah, go ahead. Sarah clicked off without waiting. Less than 3 minutes later, the phone buzzed again. She can do 9, Sarah said. That work? Matt glanced at the clock. Yeah. She's not a clock watcher. Relax. Be normal. Have a good time. I can manage that. She'll knock. Be decent. He smiled. Always. Take care of yourself, detective. Sarah, thanks. You can return the favor sometime. Matt looked around the sparse living room with fresh eyes. What had seemed merely empty now looked downright depressing. He grabbed a few empty water bottles and takeout containers from the counter and tossed them in the kitchen trash. He wasn't normally this messy, but the divorce had taken its toll. Working 14-hour days and coming home to an empty house didn't exactly inspire housekeeping motivation. Matt straightened the love seat, wiped down the kitchen counter. As he worked, a familiar unease settled in his stomach. This arrangement with Sarah had always been straightforward. He paid for her time, they enjoyed each other's company, and sometimes more. No complications, no risk of getting hurt again. But tonight was different. A stranger. Someone Sarah vouched for, but still a stranger. Matt had seen the darker side of the escort business during his time with Vice. Young women forced into the life, addiction, violence. But Sarah had always insisted she was different, independent and careful about her clients. And he believed her. He'd never detected any sign she was being coerced or controlled. Paying for company still made him uneasy, though he tried not to overthink it. He told himself it was better this way. Clean, controlled, no expectations. Matt checked his watch. 8:45. He took a quick shower, put on jeans and a clean button-down shirt, and then wondered if he looked like he was trying too hard. He unbuttoned the top button, then rebuttoned it, then unbuttoned it again. What was he, 16? His phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Ivy's on her way. Be nice to her. Matt sat on the edge of his chair and checked his watch again. The unease in his stomach mingled with something else now. Anticipation. The knock came exactly at 9. Matt stood there for a second, staring at the door like he wasn't sure how to answer it. Then he wiped his palms on his jeans and opened it. She was stunning, not in some exaggerated, high-gloss way. No fake lashes, no glitter, no heavy perfume cloud announcing her. Just stunning. Her hair was dark and straight, tucked behind her ears. Simple black dress, fitted but not showy. Boots, not heels. Her makeup was clean and minimal, like she didn't need much. She looked like someone who belonged at a gallery opening or tucked into a window seat at some impossibly cool downtown cafe. Not on the porch of a rented house in Vista Ridge. Matt? She asked. He nodded, swallowing. Yeah. She smiled just slightly. I'm Ivy. Of course she was. He tried not to stare. Come in. She stepped inside and he closed the door behind her. She moved with that casual, composed confidence that said she wasn't nervous and didn't need him to be either. Where should I put my things? She asked, lifting a small black bag off her shoulder. Anywhere's fine, Matt said. They stood there for a beat, the silence pressing in around them. I was told we'd handle the payment up front, she said, not unkindly. Oh, yeah. Matt reached for his wallet on the counter, pulled out the cash Sarah had quoted, and handed it to her. He hated this part. It felt transactional because it was transactional. She tucked it into her bag without counting it, then glanced around the room. I see you are a minimalist. He laughed. I'm in the middle of a divorce. She cleaned the place out. It is ugly? Very. The thing is, I don't know why. You have my sympathy. At least you still have the house. That's something. It's not mine, he said. I'm renting it from my brother. He's a lawyer. I won't hold that against you. He smiled in spite of himself. They both seemed to relax just slightly. She moved to the love seat, ran a finger along the top of it, then turned back to him. Why are you so nervous? I'm not sure, he admitted. He could have said she was beautiful in a way that made it hard for him to think clearly. His pulse hadn't slowed since she stepped inside. Don't be, she said, setting her bag down. I have wine, water, and whiskey, he said. What are you having? Water. I have divorce court in the morning, or I'd be drinking whiskey. Ivy made a face at the mention of divorce court. Water for me, too. She followed him into the kitchen, and when he pulled the 2 water bottles out of the refrigerator, she took them and set them on the counter. She stepped close. Kiss me, Ivy ordered. She smelled good, some delicate flower scent. What? I feel like you're about to run out of the house screaming, kiss me. Matt hesitated, but only for a second. Then he leaned in. Her mouth was soft, warm, sure. She kissed like she didn't need him to be anything other than exactly what he was in that moment. There was no performance in it, no coy buildup, just a quiet, steady insistence that melted the tension in his shoulders and silenced the echo chamber in his head. When she pulled back, it was just far enough to look at him. There, she said. That's better. Matt exhaled, surprised at how much lighter he suddenly felt. You do that for all your nervous clients? Only the cute ones, Ivy said, deadpan. He laughed, and it felt real. Not forced, not polite, just real. She grabbed the water bottles from the counter and handed him one. Come on, let's sit. They moved to the love seat. It was a little too small for 2 people who didn't know each other, but she didn't seem to mind the closeness. She draped her legs over his lap. Sarah says you have an ass fetish. Tell me about that, Ivy said. I never said that. She asked. Matt looked at the grin on Ivy's face. You're messing with me. Just a little. Feel better now? Yeah. Between the kiss, her legs touching him, and her humor, the nervousness had vanished. The conversation flowed more easily than Matt had expected. He'd been prepared for artifice, for the practiced charm of someone going through professional motions. Instead, Ivy spoke with a directness that caught him off guard. So what do you do when you're not doing this? He asked, gesturing vaguely between them. I'm in school, she said. Graphic design. 2nd year. Mostly online. Why graphic design? Matt asked. She looked at him, then shrugged lightly. It's how my brain works. I lean toward the creative side. Why are you a cop? He must have looked surprised because she laughed. I have your resume, Matt. Sarah gave me the details. I wouldn't be here otherwise. He nodded. Ivy's was a high-risk lifestyle. Naturally, she would do what she could to minimize that risk. Law enforcement always seemed like a good fit for me, he said. Do you enjoy it? I do, actually. Are you good at it? He laughed. I think so. As they talked, Matt found himself noticing things about her, the way she used her hands when making a point, how her eyes crinkled slightly at the corners when she smiled. He found himself wanting to make her smile. You know, she said, her voice dropping slightly, we don't have to spend the whole time talking. Matt felt his pulse quicken. Despite knowing exactly why she was here, he found himself momentarily at a loss for words. She smiled at his hesitation, apparently finding it charming rather than awkward. It's okay, Matt. This is supposed to be the easy part. She took his hand. Bedroom? She asked. Matt nodded, suddenly very aware of the rapid beating of his heart. He led her down the short hallway without another word, her fingers still intertwined with his. Later, Matt sat on the edge of the bed watching as Ivy disappeared into the bathroom. The sound of running water filled the silence. He ran a hand through his hair, trying to process what had just happened between them. It wasn't just the physical connection, though that had been undeniably intense. There had been moments when something else passed between them, something unexpected and genuine that didn't fit neatly into the transaction they'd agreed upon. The water stopped. A minute later, Ivy emerged wearing her dress again, somehow looking exactly as composed as when she'd arrived. She gathered her things methodically, slipping her phone into her purse. That was, Matt began, unsure how to finish the sentence without sounding either trite or overly sentimental. Good, she supplied with a small smile. It was good. Matt nodded, relief washing over him. Yeah? She paused by the bedroom door, her expression softening slightly. You're not what I expected, Matt Barry. Is that a compliment? Take it however you want. She shouldered her bag. I should go. He walked her to the front door, an awkward dance of two people who had shared intimacy but were now retreating to their separate realities. Thanks for the water, she said with a little smirk as she stepped outside. Matt stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets. Thanks for everything. She paused on the porch, turning back to face him. Maybe I'll see you around.